WNBA Playoffs 2025. Indiana Fever versus the Atlanta Dream. It was a good game. Let's get into it. The way that the Indiana Fever played this second game was much different than how they played the first game. What was the difference? Indiana was more aggressive from start to finish. Indiana had a greater defense pretty much from start to finish. Indiana frustrated the Dream with their defense, threw them off kilter. Indiana were communicating for the most part. The Fever understood that they could not come into the second game having the same old playbook they had the first game because it would not work. Now, I don't know why, and maybe you can help me with this, but I don't know why the Fever don't understand about aggressiveness and grit and how that wins games. How being on a defensive and really, having to orchestrate a good defense throughout the whole game will give you greater offense and you will probably win the game. I don't know why that doesn't stick. Can someone tell me why it does not stick for the Indiana Fever? Because if it stuck the way that they played tonight, the way that they played, this last game, the second game, they would have won the first. And they would have won more games during the season. So I don't know. I don't know why they don't get it. But I hope they got it now. And I hope when they enter into the third game, which is going to be, in Atlanta, the third game of the WNBA Playoffs 2025, I hope that they play with the same measure of aggressiveness, defensiveness, and offense that they played in the second game. I hope that they really put on the intensity to the point where the Dream walks away scratching their head wondering what happened. And so the takeaway from this second game is that the Indiana Fever can win this series. They can go further on into the playoffs. They can go to the semifinals. But it's up to them. You think about it, yeah. The coach, they gotta do their job. Absolutely. But it really comes down to the players. Are they going to go after the ball? Are they going to keep their eye on the details? Are they going to keep their eye on the ball and the players? Are they going to be aggressive defensively with rebounding and all the things that's necessary for a good defense? Are they going to do it? That's the key thing, the question. The Dream, on the other hand, they were frustrated. Probably, the beginning of the third quarter after halftime, they began to get frustrated. You could see it on their face. The more baskets they missed, the more bunnies they missed, the more that they became more frustrated. The more that the shot clock went off, the more they became more frustrated. And every time the frustration built and built and built, the Indiana Fever began to win. Because then the Dream didn't have an answer for them. So let's look at the quarters. All right. So first quarter, the Dream 14, Indiana 20. So they came out with intention to dominate the Dream. The Fever wanted to dominate the Dream, to let them know, give them notice first off, first quarter. Second quarter, 15-15. Now that could have gave the Dream some confidence maybe, but we'll see. Third quarter, 15 Dream, 24 Indiana. I don't think so. Because now the Indiana Fever are playing more aggressive. They're doing what they're supposed to do. And fourth quarter, 16 Dream and 18 Indiana. Ending with the score of 60 Atlanta Dream, 77 Indiana Fever. There you have it. So I'm just hoping, I'm really, really hoping that they will be as aggressive and as gritty as and as take over, dominate as they were in game two. They'll take it to game three. That's my hope. There's no reason why they shouldn't. Really? There's no reason why they shouldn't. And what I noticed too is that the more that the Atlanta Dream were frustrated, the more that they started like doing things within the game to get some, to get a foul or whatever they try to do. There was one time when it was Jones and Boston were, in the paint and they were like, trying to, just overcome each other. And basically, they were running to the paint, and basically, Bree Jones like made it look like Boston had fouled her, and she hadn't done it. Bree was just like faking. The minute that a team starts to try to fake stuff by flailing or being dramatic, they're in trouble. That's the telltale sign they're in trouble. Because if you're not in trouble, if you are actually on your game, you don't got to go through all those antics and all that drama. That tells you right there. Okay, so here we go. All right, for the Atlanta Dream, they only had one. They had two players. They only had two players in two-digit scoring. One was Tahina Papau. She scored 11 points. She's part of the bench. Next was Ryan Howard. She scored 10 points. And then next was Alicia Gray, who scored 9 points. So everybody else was in lower digits or one digit scoring. Okay. That just again shows you how the Indiana Fever were doing in terms of their defense. 3-pointers, the team shot 5 of 19. Field goals, 25 of 66. They had 13 turnovers and 27 rebounds altogether, 22 defensive rebounds. Now for the Fever, the highest scores were Kelsey Mitchell had 19, Aaliyah Boston had 15, and Natasha Howard had 12. And off the bench, Michaela Timpson, KK, had 9 points. The other person that I want to speak about is Ariel Powers. And I don't know if y'all take a look at my first round, first game analysis or recap, more so recap, that I was in question about what was going on with Powers because she wasn't as aggressive as she has been in the past. As soon as she's been on the team, she was aggressive, start out aggressively and was really about it. And then, for the first game, I didn't see all that. I saw less of it. I saw like, I was like, what's going on? What's happening here? Something's changed. And then tonight, it was totally different. She was on it tonight. Okay. She was on it for the game. She was aggressive. She was hyping up the crowd. She was full of energy. And that was good to see. It helped the team for sure. And it definitely frustrated the Dream. Okay, the largest lead was 24, and that was by the Indiana Fever. Fast break points, Dream 7, Fever 6. Points in the paint, Dream 36, Fever 38. Fouls, 23 for the Dream, 16 for the Fever. Okay. Turnovers, 16 for the Dream, 19 for the Fever. Rebounds, 27 for the Dream and 37 for the Fever. Okay, they played at the Gamebridge Fieldhouse, and the attendance was 16,682. Now again, this was the second game, okay, of the series, the best out of 3. So they have one more game to play, the third game, because right now it's tied. So they play the third game. Whoever wins that third game, they go up into the semifinals. Can Indiana Fever do it? Yes. Can the Dream do it? Yes. So we should see a battle on Thursday when they play it next time they play. So let me know what your thoughts are about the game. If you watched it, what did you see? Anything different that you want to speak about? I think The refereeing was a bit better this game than it was the last game. Although there was probably a couple that I saw or witnessed, anyways, of different fouls that occurred that weren't that were not spoken about. So but that's whatever that is. But all in all, the Indiana Fever played a good game, and they were at the top of their defense and at the top of their being more aggressive. And if you go back and look at the post interview with the uh, Atlanta Dream team, they speak about how aggressive the Fever were. And when another team is speaking about how aggressive you are and how that stopped them from doing what they wanted to do, then you know you're on the right track. Now you just got to keep that track going and even increase it if you can, especially if you want to win the series of in the playoffs. So, all that said, my name is Barbara, around the WNBA and other sports. Hey, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, feel free. You can do it now. It's free. Also, give me a thumbs up because that helps. And remember to tap the bell, because when you tap the bell, what it does is notifies you when there's new content. Okay? So, all that said, go Fever. Until next time, peace and blessings.